Welcome to Simplify to Scale, a show dedicated to helping you scale a high impact and high profit business that you love without all of the complexity and chaos that can keep you trapped in the day to day. I'm your host, Krista Grasso, and with decades of scaling experience, I know what actually works and what's just hype. So if you are done with all of the one-size-fits-all scaling advice and all of the overnight success promises, and instead you want proven practical strategies that will help you simplify operations, elevate your leadership, amplify profits, and scale sustainably, let's dive in and get started. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Simplify to Scale show. Today, we are going to be talking about the importance of having an operating system for your business. And if you think this is going to be an operational discussion, it's not. It's completely and entirely different. And it's really about looking at things through the lens of being the visionary of your business and what it takes to be able to actually remain the visionary of your business. So I'm getting ready to host my Founder Frequency Live experience. It's coming up for me in just a couple weeks. By the time you listen to this, the June event might have passed, but I encourage you to go check out the link down below in the show notes and see if there is another one coming, because I do plan to host this often. But that being said, one of the things that we're doing on the very first day of the event is building out what I call your visionary operating system. And I want to talk a little bit about that in this episode, because this is one of the things that I find makes one of the biggest differences for somebody to get to actually do the work that is their true genius in their business, instead of constantly getting pulled into all of the little things that pull you away from it. And this works whether you're going all in on AI and building out agents and AI team members and the whole nine yards, or if you have a human team or a combination of both. And so when I think about your visionary operating system, I'm going to equate this to something that I hear people talk about all the time. And this is building your brain in AI, right? Some people call it your business brain. Some people call it other different types of brains. And the concept itself is somewhat similar. However, let's take this out of and the abstract up above the AI language for a moment and think about what we mean by building the brain of your business. Well, in a lot of ways, it's who your business is. It's what your business does. It's who it serves. It's who it works with. It's the mission. It's the vision. It's the values. It's how decisions get made. It's how things run. It's how things operate, right? And all of these things, super valuable and super important. But if you think about, again, abstracting above an AI layer, well, think about anytime you're hiring someone and bringing them onto your team. What are some of the very first things that you end up training that person on so that they can do a good job working for you, regardless of what role it is that you have? Well, it's a lot of those things about your business. It's what the business is and what you do and who you serve and what your offers are and who you work with and who you don't work with and how you work and how you make decisions and what you say yes to, what you say no to, all of those different facets and all of those different things. And the better you're able to communicate that stuff, especially the stuff that goes many levels deeper than the things that maybe somebody could find online about you or read and find on your website or gather from reading one of your sales pages or your emails, right? It's a total different level of depth that you're trying to have somebody come up to speed on when they join your team in order to be able to do their job well, do it in alignment with the values and the level of quality and just the way and culture within your business and how you work and how you show up for clients and how you show up in the market in general. And this is something that many founders and many small businesses struggle with. It's something that sometimes you're running so fast and you're doing so many things that it's hard to even take a breath or a pause to be able to communicate it. But when you do, a lot of times there's gaps in what's being communicated. It's not intentional. Sometimes it's the natural pace of things moving so quickly. Sometimes it's the fact that you don't even have clarity on all of it yourself, or things change so quickly. It can be hard to communicate, or by the time you communicate something or send someone to some dusty playbook that you have somewhere, that hasn't been touched in 3 years. Half of it's out of date and it's not even relevant anymore. And so there's a few different reasons why businesses struggle with this. But one of the things that you've probably found over the years of building out a team and building out people around you is the better someone can really deeply understand both the business and also you as the founder of the business, you as the person whose really values and principles and practices and ways of working and ways of thinking guide so much of who the business is and what you do and the experience you provide for your clients. The person who can get that, the person who can deeply understand that, the person who sometimes can finish your sentences for you or who knows you better than you and can kind of see the early warning signs when you're about to get a little too burnt out or when you're really overdoing it or when you're about to fall into one of your patterns where maybe you overgive and underreceive, right? Many of us struggle with that. And so there's that person or people on your team that start to develop that knowledge combined with knowing. They can sense things. They know what you're about to do and what you're about to say and what's aligned and what's not almost as well or sometimes eerily better than you do. And it's because they've got that objectivity combined with that depth of knowledge and that just depth of experience in getting to know you as the founder and getting to know the business so intimately. Sometimes that happens really intentionally. Some businesses are really great at creating a guided journey for someone who comes onto the team to develop that and to kind of cultivate that. And a lot of people, it happens kind of accidentally because, again, founder led small business, you tend to be wearing a ton of hats. You're balancing your business with your personal life in ways that are a little bit different than a bigger business that has more defined roles and more people plugged into those roles. And you could substitute AI for people here, depending on your team structure, not fully, but a blend, right? And so when you think about all of this together, those characteristics, who the business is and deeply understanding the business, who you are, and what makes you operate at your very best, and what takes you so completely out of your zone of genius that it's either not a happy place for you or you create maybe not the happiest place for other people to work and be in, right? If we're really honest about things when we are not at our best, we do not always create the best environment for those around us, right? And then how things get decided and done and discerned in the sense of what you do, why you do it, or why you don't do what you don't do, right? And so all of these different facets are the things that make someone able to be really effective in your business, make it so that you can trust that person to do what needs to get done, and make it so that you're not always in that heightened worried state of are they going to say the wrong thing? Are they going to do the wrong thing? Are they going to damage the reputation of the brand based on the way they handle things? Are they going to upset a customer because they do something that doesn't match the level of quality or the way that you would handle something, right? When you've got that person who just kind of gets it and really gets it and really gets you, it just gives you such a deep sense of relief and it allows you to actually elevate your focus to be the visionary of the business. Now, for some of you listening, you're like, yep, I have that with my human people, but how in the blankety blank do I do that with AI? For some of you listening, you're like, is she talking about rainbows and unicorns and mystical lands that I know nothing about? Because that is not how my team operates, right? And so people are on different kind of levels of that type of experience with their team. But let's start with the ideal case scenario that your human team gets that. Great. Well, usually, like I said, some people are really good about creating a guided journey for that to be true for people. Most people, you just so happen to hire some really great people, and it happens more accidentally than intentionally, right? So the ability to recreate it can sometimes be a struggle. But then when you think about translating that to AI, now you have a tool that has this vast amount of capability, vast amount of knowledge that it has access to depending on what you train it on and what you feed into it, it might have a vast amount of knowledge based on you and what you do and how you do things and what you've done before. depending on how much you've given it and how much you've given it access to and how much you've interacted with it, right? That's great. But it doesn't have the same ability that a human does to pick up on different cues and to see facial expressions and sometimes to even hear tonality. And there's different things that a machine today, right now, as you're listening to this, if you're listening to this close to when it's recorded, can't do. Who knows what it'll be able to do in the near future? But as of right this moment, right, there are pretty significant differences between what a human can do and what an AI can do. And so when you think about that, how do you then start to leverage AI team members, like true agentic team, like true automated, autonomous team members that can go and work and do things on your behalf? If you struggled with control and releasing control and trusting in people to do anything at all, now imagine it's not even a person that you can have a real conversation with. And instead, it is a machine that you are trusting to do something on your behalf. Well, what does it need in order to be successful? And what do you need it to have? And what do you need it to understand in order to actually be able to trust in it? That's your visionary operating system. And the thing that's really beautiful about a visionary operating system is it works as well for your human team as it does for your AI team. Because the things that you need to communicate to get that incredible hire that you can fully trust in from a human perspective is the same exact thing that your AI team needs to know to be able to be something that you trust in order to go and execute and do things on your behalf as well, especially when you have high standards. You don't want to add to the slop and the noise and all of the BS online. You want to maintain the integrity of your brand, the value that you provide, the quality that's expected when people work with you or experience you and your business. When all of that is important and you want to maintain that, then the way that you train your AI is going to be absolutely critical. And so this is where I think you want to really invest in developing a visionary operating system. And it's a little bit different than a business brain. On the surface, it sounds kind of the same, right? There's three core facets that are a part of your visionary operating system. There's what I call your universe. It's kind of who your business is. There's your genius, is what I call kind of who you are. And then there's your code, which is what I call why you do what you do and why you don't do what you don't do, right? And so I look at those three facets as coming together to create your visionary operating system. And they very much interconnect. There's one additional piece that we layer on top of that. And this is what I do on day 2 with people inside Founder Frequency Live. So day 1 is those three things I mentioned, developing your visionary operating system. Day 2, we build your visionary compass or your visionary current. And this is what is relevant right now. So it's one thing to know who your business is and who you are and why you do and why you don't and those things. But like, what are your priorities right now? What are your goals? What are the things that you're working towards right now? And what is the current season that you are in your life right now? We all know in a founder-led business, the things that happen personally in our life have a very big influence in how we show up, how much we show up, what we commit to, what we don't commit to in the business, especially when a lot of that business is still dependent on us, right? If you've got somebody who's running things day to day and you're truly elevated into more of that visionary or founder seat, fantastic. It's less influence on the day to day of the business, but still in any founder led business, there is very much an influence. And so that's a fourth piece that influences your visionary operating system. But that to me goes into the broader founder frequency that we end up building out. So if we just look at the three, your universe, who your business is, your genius, who you are, and your code, why you do what you do and don't do what you don't do, how you make decisions, your filters, kind of your principles, your practices, those things. When you think about those, on the surface, that kind of sounds like the brain that everyone talks about that you're going to build in AI, right? You're going to tell it which words not to use and to not use M dashes and to not use contrasting statements and sets of 3 and all the things, right? Like we all know what to tell it not to do. So it doesn't sound like everyone else. Like, stop saying real, stop saying actually, stop saying quietly, stop saying loud, right? All the different things that it says all the time. Stop saying sits with. I could go on and on and on and on and on. All the telltale signs that AI wrote something and put its fingerprints all over everything, right? That makes people kind of discredit it. So you can do all of that. And a lot of people consider that the business brain. And it's a part of it, a very important part of it, but it's just a very small part of it. Some people will feed in all of their information on their clients and their offers, and they'll feed in some information on their business. They might put their financial targets in. Great, right? That's part of your universe, but it's only a part of it. Some people will put in for themselves some information about themselves, and they'll try to capture some of how they think. They might even load in some coaching call transcripts of them working with clients or some kind of transcripts of them working with their team or their clients or doing some kind of teaching or something so that the tool gets to know them better. And then there's certainly all of your prior chat history and there's writing samples and there's all these different things that you could load in. And all of those really incredibly helpful, help build out your brain, give a lot of great input to the visionary operating system, but none of those in and of themselves are the complete visionary operating system. And so what we end up doing with people, what I guide people through is a 1 day activity. And at the end of that day, they have something that they can use and put in their company playbook or their employee handbook or whatever you call the thing that you give somebody when they join your company so they know what they need to know and can reference the most important things that are needed to really kind of understand how you work and what you do and how you make decisions and all of that. Right. So, something that you could put there that you leverage for your human team, something that you could leverage when you're hiring people and onboarding people and going through that whole process, and something that you absolutely can use in AI is something we actually build out right in your AI tool with the intention that anything you've ever already done in AI is naturally going to run better when you install it. And anything you do going forward is going to run better because you have it installed. And it's done very intentionally. And one of the things that I'm going to sidebar for just a moment here, this is something I'm so super passionate about. And as every day goes by, I'm getting more and more and more passionate about it. Is I think AI is an incredible asset. It's an incredible tool. And I am seeing so many people misuse it so incredibly terribly that I feel like it's actually taking them further away from their vision, creating more dependency on them. I've talked so much about this in past episodes. I'm not going to go too deep into it. But what I am so passionate about is helping people understand how to use AI as the incredible tool and asset that it is. It is not the destination. It is a tool that is able to help you get more done quicker, and it can help you elevate yourself into more of the founder seat, the visionary seat in the business, which is what so many people want. But that will not happen unless it's built properly. That will not happen if you don't slow down to speed up. Most people are like kid in a candy store. I can buy this skill from this one. And did you see this prompt that I could use? I just got this email. Did you see this person's leading this? Did you see this person's teaching this? Did you see this person has this free thing that I could download and install? And it's going to magically make everything sound perfect in 4 seconds flat, right? There's all of these incredible, incredible promises. There's the overnight success promises, the I saved a bajillion hours promises, that this took me 5 minutes and I accelerated things by 5 years. I mean, the hype is real. The hype is so real right now. It is so overplayed. It is so overdone. It is done incredibly well where it creates FOMO. You don't already have something that somebody's talking about. It creates fear that you're going to be left behind if you haven't already done it and if you're not as far ahead as everybody else. I mean, like, there is just so much noise around AI combined with it's fun, it's sexy. You can do this thing that maybe, just maybe, will solve all of your problems in 4 seconds flat, right? Like, there's just all of these things that are perfectly aligned to take an already overloaded, already super busy founder, already super busy person who barely has time for the things that they love to do and that they want to do and the impact they want to make in their business, and instead shifts all their focus to basically working on AI all day. And you end up further away from the things that you really want to do. You end up with more complexity and more fragmentation and more of all the things in the business. The business gets so far from simple, it's hard to even figure out how to dig yourself out of it. And you know, I am all about simple and sustainable. And there are ways that AI can enable sustainable. There are simple ways to use AI, but AI in and of itself does not necessarily translate into simple. In order for it to work really well, there's a lot more tools and a lot more pieces and a lot more parts. And when that is true, you need a lot more organization and you need a lot more structure. All things that most founders, especially those who are visionaries, do not naturally love and do not naturally gravitate towards. And some will be really good about putting it in place, but not very good about maintaining it and sustaining it over time, which is something that's necessary. So, this is why I believe that a visionary operating system is so incredibly important, because this is the thing that you build that becomes the base that everything else is built on top of. I know in the way that I facilitate the event specifically, I mean, this took me, aside from years and years and years of using this, I have poured, I don't even know how many hundreds of hours into designing this in such a way to make it work really well for people. Because I know that if you come to an event and you spend 3 days together and you have the excitement in the room and energy in the room and you get it all done and you feel really great about it, but then you fly home or you drive back to your house and you sit back down in your same desk Monday morning and all of a sudden you're like, I don't know what to do with this. I don't know how to use this. I don't, wait, what am I? Huh? Like, if you have that kind of reaction, then it just becomes another thing that collects digital dust and it doesn't actually make a difference in your life. It doesn't actually allow you to be the visionary of the business. It doesn't allow you to step into more of that frequency of being a founder, right? Like a founder is different than the person in the day to day. The founder's the person who had the vision, who had the idea, the person who's doing more of that true direction setting and envisioning and guiding, and then stepping back and letting the very smart, very capable, very incredible people or tools and technology that are available to the business run things day to day. And that's what I want for people. And so I was so intentional with the way that I built this, in the way I see most people building business brains and approaching things. It's all really good stuff that they're doing. It's, most people have a lot of really good stuff, and it's like it's 80% there, but that 20% makes such a big difference. And that 20% is part of what makes this sustainable and part of what makes things actually work instead of almost work. And so this is what we do at Founder Frequency Live. If you'd like to join me, if you happen to be listening to this right when the episode releases, hurry up and head over to leanscaling.com/frequency and see if there's still a spot left to join us. I'm down to 2 spaces left at the time I'm recording this. So to be determined if they're still open by the time you hear this, but it would be great. Come spend 3 days with me. It's a really small group. I'm doing that very intentionally. We're having a party at my house on Thursday night. I'm inviting all sorts of local entrepreneurs from Austin, including some others who are in town for another event. And so we're going to have a great, small, intimate 3 days together. I'm calling it more of like an AI playground where we're building out. Visionary operating system is just day one. There's so much more that comes after that. And then we're getting together Thursday evening at my house. You could hang out and meet my dog. As I mentioned in the last episode, I think personally that's the highlight because Remy's the most adorable little man ever. But that being said, it will be just such an incredible experience. And I will absolutely do this again. So even if you're listening and it is past the dates that I'm mentioning here, just head over to that page and see what's coming or put yourself on the wait list because it really is a great experience. But either way, what I want for you is to have in place a visionary operating system in your business that absolutely makes it possible for your team to have what they need to be able to run the business in the way that you want them to, in the way that you would without everything continuously coming back to you, and to be able to have and trust in your tools and technology to be able to do what you want it to do and the level of quality that you want, something that you're proud of, not that thing that you see got posted and you cringe and you're like, oh God, did they say that? Did they really post that? Oh, I would never have said that. Right? Like you don't have any of that. That is a thing of the past. Things just kind of happen. You have things show up in your inbox that need to be in your inbox that you need to see. You have everything else, kind of all the noise gets filtered away. So you could see the important things and the important things only. And you could truly operate as that visionary leader of your business. You could be in that frequency of being the founder of your business instead of the person running around like your hair's on fire, trying to fix everything and solve everything and deal with everything and constantly being frustrated that I hired a team. Why don't they get it? Why isn't this working the way I want? I invested in AI. I downloaded this person's skill and I took this person's project. I joined this person's program and I don't understand why none of this works. I don't understand why AI still sounds like this. I don't understand why I still have to do so much myself and why all of a sudden I'm the one now maintaining AI in my business. Right. If you've ever felt any of that, that is a sign that a visionary operating system is something that would be such a good investment of your time. And again, if you want to do that together, just head to the link down below. Find out more about Founder Frequency Live. I would love to have you there. I'm probably going to take Visionary Operating System and make it available as a standalone experience, but I'm still toying with that idea. So you're getting me as I'm thinking through. It is so valuable, but I really want people to have the other parts that we build on top of it that just amplify it even more. And that's what we do on day 2 and 3. So either way, when you head to the page, it'll tell you all the details. And if you stick around, I'm sure I will tell you more as well. And if you listen to last week's episode, you know I mentioned identity evolution, and I am in the middle of a big one. So stay tuned. I've got some really exciting changes coming. I cannot wait to tell you all about it, but I'm trying not to get too far ahead of myself here. So more to come in the coming weeks and months. And with that, I hope you got a lot of value out of today's episode. I will see you again next week. If you are a visionary founder ready to get yourself out of the day-to-day operations of your business and scale in a much more simple, sustainable way, I have just the thing. Register to join me for my Scale Simpler workshop at scalesimpler.com. In it, I break down the hidden barriers that keep you trapped in the day-to-day of your business and what to do to finally extract yourself once and for all so things do not keep coming back onto your plate. And if you're someone who partners with founders as their right-hand advisor, consultant, or fractional, I invite you to explore our scaling certification and licensing programs at strategicopsinstitute.com.